In reference to tonight's memorial, I'm just wondering how many of the guys are going to show up sporting beards, no ties, and how many women are going to be wearing slacks, and how many people that have been shunned for decades are finally going to be spoken to. Anyways, guys, let's get to it. How you doing, guys? It was 2016 was the last memorial I had ever attended. Now, I knew I wasn't going to be in New York for much longer, but I was talked into going to this one last memorial. Now, I knew I was going to be on my way out very soon. I was just figuring out how am I going to make my escape. Now, at this point in time, I had already been mocked for about 5 or 6 years. So I'd already gotten a taste of the shunning because I've been pretty much ignored and given the cold shoulder for a good 5 years at this point, so I was used to it. I knew the consequences of leaving the organization, and I knew the consequences of being disfellowshipped. At this point, it didn't matter. I was already being shunned. It's funny, when I walked into the memorial, I'm looking around the room at the people that at one time had love-bombed me to no end, with the same people now that have given me the cold shoulder now for 5 or 6 years. There were actually a small handful of people in my congregation that were actually still speaking to me, and they played dumb about it. So I never even mentioned that there was no point to. If people aren't going to speak to you, you're not going to get the real reason why they're not speaking to you, so I never bothered asking. Now, I did not want to speak to anybody at the end of the memorial, so I'm figuring, how am I going to make my escape? Just before the closing song, I kind of drifted towards the back, towards the door. And during the closing song, I made my escape. It wasn't about 2 or 3 months after that I was finally officially out. I had never attended any meeting after that memorial. So, yeah, it was easy for me to go. And I was disfellowshipped, let's see, August 11th. 2016, so now I was officially gone. And it was pretty much true. I was still shunned by the people that had been shunning me all this time. I started thinking about this, and I watched Amber's video the other day, and it kind of brought a lot of things to light. How was it going to feel to the people that had been shunned, in some cases for decades, to all of a sudden have their loved ones start speaking to them because they finally got permission from a few guys in Warwick? Kind of cold, don't you think? How many lives' memories were totally erased and ignored? Think about that. Now, I know people in this predicament. I knew 2 elders that were missing their grandchildren growing up because they had to shun this so-called loving arrangement that I guess all of a sudden the governing body has decided it wasn't such a loving arrangement. So now they're overriding their God, because there were no scriptures given for any of these decisions. They just said, you can acknowledge disfellowship people. But how many memories were missed? And this also includes younger people. How many of them had their grandparents go to their grave without even having a chance to say goodbye? There were many. And you look at this, how cold is that? Now, how's it going to feel for the people that had been shunned for all these years to all of a sudden they're being spoken to? Very cold. Why couldn't you have done this before? Why did you need these guys in Warwick giving you permission to speak? Now, if all of a sudden a JW that I basically didn't speak to on my way out started speaking to me now because they had permission, really, don't waste your time. This is all those years since 2011 that I had been given the cold shoulder. At this point, I'm pretty much over it. I really had no close friends in the organization, so I'm okay with that. So don't give me this phony hello. But there were a lot of people that missed their families, miss their close friends, but really deep down, how are they going to feel that now they're being spoken to? And in all honesty, why do you need permission to speak to somebody? Why do you need permission, like children, to grow a beard? Why do you need permission to wear slacks? Why do you need permission to not wear a tie? You are not children, but your entire lives are being controlled like children. And this is why I wanted no part of this organization. Now, I was a grown-ass adult, all of a sudden being treated like a child. I'm paying my own way, they're not paying my bills, yet they're trying to tell me how to live. They're trying to tell me how to act. They're trying to tell me how to think. They're trying to tell me how to dress. And I'm thinking, this was never me to begin with. But in all honesty, coming in from the outside, I had no idea what this all entailed. And there was no way in hell, I'm surprised I put up with it as long as I did, but there was no way in hell that I could live my life like this. And I can't imagine what my life would be like today if I was still in the org, if I would still be dodging bullets, if I would still be fading. I just got tired of people calling me constantly, being at my door when uninvited, trying to coerce me into going back to the meetings, trying to coerce me to going out in field service. Now we don't have to keep time. So what's the point? Anyways, guys, these are just some thoughts. But for you Jehovah's Witnesses, think of that. Why do you need Warwick's permission? It's kind of childish. Now, most of it is on them because they're trying to appear a little less culty, but it's a little late for them. But don't you think it still is kind of culty that you need permission as grown-ass adults? Anyways, guys, I just wanted to get this out there. You all have a good day. I'll be talking to you soon.